The rain never stopped on Karen 9. It fell in thin, metallic sheets from a sky the color of bruised steel, hissing when it struck the broken streets of Outpost Virex. The colony had once been a promising trade hub on the edge of human-controlled space. Now it was a graveyard of flickering lights, half-powered towers, and forgotten people who survived by keeping their heads down and their mouths shut. Elias Ward moved through the rain with practiced ease, his hood pulled low, boots splashing through shallow puddles laced with oil and ash. He carried a medical satchel slung over one shoulder, the faded insignia of the Interstellar Relief Corps barely visible beneath layers of grime. He wasn't a soldier, wasn't a hero, and definitely wasn't looking for trouble. But trouble had a way of finding people like him. A distant explosion echoed somewhere deeper in the district, followed by the sharp crack of plasma fire. Elias flinched but didn't stop walking. Gang skirmishes were common here, local syndicates fighting over ration shipments or black market tech. The authorities rarely intervened. Outpost Virex was considered expendable. He turned into a narrow alley, planning to take the long way back to his clinic when he heard it. A sound that didn't belong. Not gunfire. Not shouting. A thin, strangled gasp. Elias froze. The sound came again, closer this time. A breath dragged painfully through damaged lungs. Against his better judgment, he followed it, stepping over discarded crates and shattered drones until he saw her. She lay slumped against the alley wall, rain washing crimson streaks from her side and pooling beneath her body. Her clothing was unfamiliar, sleek fabric woven with faintly glowing threads, far too refined for this part of the city. One arm was wrapped around her abdomen, fingers trembling. She was clearly not human. Her skin shimmered with a faint opalescent hue, pale silver under the alley lights. Long, dark hair clung to her face, and her eyes, half-lidded with pain, were a deep, luminous violet. Alien, wounded, and very young. Elias's first instinct was to back away. Helping an alien on Karen 9 was dangerous. Helping a well-dressed alien was worse. That kind of attention usually came with consequences, bounties, political complications, or violent reprisals. Then she tried to stand. Her legs gave out instantly, and she collapsed with a soft cry, her breath hitching as pain tore through her body. That sound cut straight through Elias's hesitation. "Hey," he said softly, stepping closer. "Easy. Don't move." Her eyes snapped open, locking onto him with raw fear. She tried to speak, but only a weak, broken sound came out. Elias knelt beside her, already opening his satchel. "I'm a medic," he said. "I won't hurt you." She didn't respond, but she didn't pull away when he gently moved her hand aside to examine the wound. It was bad. A plasma burn had torn through her side, cauterized but unstable. Internal damage, possibly organ trauma. She wouldn't survive long out here. "Can you stand if I help you?" he asked. Her lips trembled. She gave a small, barely perceptible nod. That was enough. Elias slipped one arm under her shoulders and lifted her carefully. She was lighter than he expected, her body shaking with each step as he guided her through the rain and back toward his clinic. Behind them, the alley swallowed their footprints. The clinic was little more than a reinforced storage unit with a power generator and salvaged equipment, but it was clean. Elias laid her gently on the examination table and sealed the door before activating the lights. She whimpered as he cut away the damaged fabric from her side. "I know," he murmured. "I know it hurts. Just hold on." Her physiology was unfamiliar, but not entirely alien. The wound responded to human-grade stabilizers, though her vital signs fluctuated dangerously. As he worked, her eyes never left him. "Why?" she whispered, voice weak but melodic. Why help me? Elias didn't look up. Because you're bleeding. That is not reason enough, she said faintly. He paused, then shrugged. It is for me. He finished sealing the wound and injected a mild sedative. Her breathing slowly evened out, the tension in her body easing as exhaustion claimed her. Before she drifted off, her fingers curled weakly around his sleeve. Please, she whispered. Do not give me to them. Elias frowned. To who? But she was already unconscious. She slept for nearly 2 days. During that time, Elias kept her hidden, turning away anyone who came near the clinic and disabling his external comms. He didn't know who they were, but he knew enough to trust her fear. When she finally woke, it was quietly. Her eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the soft light. She stared at the ceiling for a long moment before turning her head and seeing Elias seated nearby, cleaning a blood-stained bandage. She tensed instantly, trying to sit up. Hey, he said quickly.
Easy.
You're safe. Wounds stabilized. She studied him with suspicion, then slowly relaxed as pain reminded her she wasn't going anywhere. You did not restrain me, she observed. No reason to, Elias replied. You can barely move. A faint, almost amused expression crossed her face. Honesty. I appreciate that. She introduced herself as Lyra. Just Lyra. She said she had been traveling with an escort when they were attacked. Separated in the chaos. Hunted afterward. She didn't explain why, and Elias didn't push. They spent hours talking about small things. The rain. The state of the colony. Human food, which she found oddly fascinating. She laughed when he complained about ration bars, the sound soft and musical. Despite her injury, there was something composed about her. A quiet confidence that didn't match someone who should have been terrified and alone. You speak like someone important, Elias said once, half joking. She tilted her head. Is that a compliment? More like an observation. She smiled, but said nothing. Over the next few days, word spread through the city. Someone was looking for an alien girl. Syndicate enforcers began patrolling the district. Drones scanned alleyways. A bounty notice flickered briefly on public terminals before being pulled down. Elias felt a chill settle in his stomach. They're getting closer, he told Lyra one night. If you stay here, they'll find you. She met his gaze, expression unreadable. And if I leave, they'll hunt you anyway. Silence stretched between them. Finally, she spoke. If I told you who I am, it would place you in danger. Elias snorted quietly. Pretty sure I'm already there. She hesitated, then rose slowly from the table despite his protest, standing with effort. There was something different about her now, an air of authority that hadn't been there before. I am Lyra Valen, she said, heir to the Celestari throne. The words hit like a physical blow. Elias stared at her. Your royalty? Crown princess, she corrected softly. My people rule a coalition that spans 12 systems. My death would justify a war. Elias ran a hand through his hair, disbelief giving way to panic. You saved me from starting an interstellar incident.
Great.
She stepped closer. I never intended to involve you. Yet here we are. The clinic shook suddenly as an explosion rocked the street outside. Shouts echoed, followed by the unmistakable whine of heavy weaponry. They've found us, Elias muttered. Lyra's eyes hardened. Then we must move. Now. They barely escaped. Syndicate forces stormed the clinic minutes later, but Elias and Lyra were already gone, slipping through maintenance tunnels beneath the city. Blaster fire echoed behind them as drones pursued, but Lyra, despite her injury, moved with surprising skill, guiding him through hidden routes, known only to those trained from birth. They emerged near the old spaceport, where Elias had an old cargo shuttle barely held together by hope and duct tape. As they boarded, a massive warship decloaked in the sky above. Not human. Celestari. Its presence silenced the city. Elias watched in stunned awe as royal insignias blazed across the hull. Dropships descended, elite guards fanning out with lethal precision. Lyra stood at the ramp, shoulders straight, eyes blazing. The Syndicate forces didn't stand a chance. Within minutes, the threat was neutralized. A tall figure approached Lyra and knelt. "My princess," he said, "we have been searching for you." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "You may rise." Then she turned to Elias. "This is where our paths separate," she said quietly. Elias swallowed. "Guess so." She hesitated, then reached out, pressing a small, crystalline token into his palm. "If you ever need protection," she said, "show this. My people will come." He closed his fingers around it. "You didn't have to." "I did," she interrupted. "Because you saved me when you thought I was no one." Their eyes met, something unspoken passing between them. Then she stepped onto the dropship, and the ramp closed. The sky lit up as the Celestari fleet vanished into hyperspace. Weeks passed. Outpost Virex slowly returned to its grim normalcy. Elias reopened his clinic, treating the same forgotten people, patching wounds no one else cared about. Life went on. Until one night, the sky split open. A royal vessel descended directly above his clinic, its presence commanding absolute silence. Celestari guards disembarked, forming a path as the ramp lowered. Lyra stepped out, not in rags, not wounded, but adorned in flowing royal attire, a living symbol of power and grace. She walked straight to Elias. "I told my council about you," she said. "They wished to reward you." He blinked. "I don't want a reward." "I know," she replied, smiling. "That is why I came myself." She looked out over the city. "My people wish to establish a permanent alliance here," she said. "Humanitarian aid. Protection. A future." She turned back to him. "And I need someone I trust to help build it." Elias felt something warm settle in his chest. "You saved a girl," she said softly. "You did not know she was royalty. That is why you are exactly who we need." The rain began to fall again, but this time, it didn't feel so cold. And for the first time on Karen 9, the future looked bright. The transformation of Outpost Virex did not happen overnight. At first, the people watched from behind cracked windows and rusted doors as Celestari engineers descended into the streets, their luminous tools repairing infrastructure humans had abandoned decades ago. Water purifiers hummed back to life. Shield towers rose where gang checkpoints once stood. The rain still fell, but now it was clean, no longer burning skin or corroding metal. Elias worked every day, not as a ruler, not as a symbol, as a medic. Only now he had resources, real ones. Advanced medical equipment, alien technology adapted carefully for human use, and teams of volunteers from both species working side by side. For the first time, his clinic was more than a place to survive. It was a place to heal. Lyra visited often, though never announced herself with ceremony. Sometimes she arrived as the crown princess of the Celestari, flanked by guards and advisors. Other times, she came alone, wearing simple attire, sitting quietly beside patients and listening to their stories. People began to understand something important. She wasn't helping them because she was royalty. She was royalty because she helped them. One evening, as twin moons rose over the city, Elias stood on the clinic's roof, watching lights glow across districts that had once been dark. Lyra joined him, the wind tugging gently at her robes. You changed their fate, he said. She shook her head.
No. You did.
I simply ensured the choice endured. He looked at her then, not as a patient, not as a princess, but as the girl he had carried through the rain, bleeding and terrified. Do you ever regret it? He asked. Coming here? Tying your people to a forgotten human colony. She met his gaze, violet eyes steady. Power without compassion rots, she said. My parents taught me that. You proved it. Silence settled comfortably between them. Finally, she spoke again. My council has offered you citizenship within the Celestari Coalition. Titles. Protection. A place among the stars. Elias exhaled slowly. And if I refuse? A faint smile curved her lips. Then you remain exactly who you are. He considered the city below, the people, the future taking root in concrete and steel. I'll stay, he said. Someone has to make sure this place doesn't forget why it was saved. Lyra nodded, relief softening her expression. Then I will visit. Often. Below them, laughter echoed through the streets, a sound once unheard on Karen 9. Far above, the stars shimmered. And in the space between two worlds, a single choice, made by a human who saved a girl without knowing she was royalty, had changed the fate of them all.